Hello everyone, I'm Angelo. I've been homeless in Northern Virginia for 7 weeks now, and I was thinking today about how to deal with my finances and being broke. I am broke, that's kind of why I'm homeless, among other reasons. The cost of living here is very high, and I want to talk about my experience being broke, kind of what's the worst part of it, how do I deal with it, and what it's like around Northern Virginia to be broke. Well, I can't speak for other people's experience, but just for me. So I'm healthy, I'm 33 years old, got about $15,000 in credit card debt, which barely ever seems to move down. My cell phone bill just went out today, so as soon as I think, I made a dent in my credit card payment, another $130. Went and got groceries today, $30. I could have made it closer to $20, but I wanted to splurge on an extra $7 of nice foods for me. A little bowl of like a kind of noodles with sriracha sauce and vegetables and vanilla cream brioche bread and a little chocolate bar, low sugar, high like dark chocolate, so it's kind of healthy. I got this from Aldi, by the way. So the way I'd describe being broke is it's like every day it's like spinning a roulette wheel and landing on what's the biggest priority today that I need to focus my money on to the exclusion of everything else. So I'm always sort of trying to play catch up with what do I need, what can I put off. For example, yesterday I splurged for the last day and a half or so. I drove about 80 miles west. I always wanted to go back to the Shenandoah Valley. I finally went there, visited. You can see the videos from the mountains and the overlooks there. So I spent money on gas, motel room. All in all, I actually didn't spend that much. The motel room was only about $70, $75. Gas was fairly cheap out there, at least. I spent like $11 for half a tank of gas. That kind of blew my mind because in my head I'm like, shit, damn it, I just spent a bunch of money on gas, and I saw my credit card statement. I was like, oh, not so bad. Got some food while I was out there. There really wasn't much open. I went to a Chinese restaurant. Came back. Now here was the problem. First of all, I'm noticing, okay, my credit card statement is not too bad. Didn't go up too high. I managed to pay down some lately. However, it's because there have been things I've been putting off because I have as a priority things that, are going to be emergencies if I don't deal with them. Mainly food, gas, and then just the regular bills that go out. So every month I'm having to send out $130 for my cell phone bill. And why is it so high? For one thing, my mom's cell phone is on there too. I have to pay for unlimited data. It's not too expensive from T-Mobile, great company. And I bought an iPad for a job I got that I quit shortly afterwards, and I'm paying the data or not the data, but the payment plan for that every month. So that's why it's $130 a month. That same job, I have a debt to that job. It was a sales job, so I had to pay for leads. I never made any sales, so I'm paying back that every month. Paying car insurance every month. Now on top of that, I was getting back home last night, and the engine of my car is overheating. And I've been getting this fixed for like a year and a half, 2 years, because I know now that the radiator is cracked, because when I park, coolant leaks at the car, and on long trips it seems to get even worse. So I'm already thinking, okay, I'm not a chance I'm fixing the radiator. I have coolant in my car, and here's how my day went yesterday. I got back from the Shenandoah Valley, drove about 70, 80 miles. I'm parked somewhere. The car was overheating, so I can't. Here's the problem with that too. The heat won't run properly if the car's not cooled properly. So I'm getting cold air blowing from the car. I shut the shut the air off. I can't keep myself warm in the car. It's Christmas Day, so there's hardly anywhere I can just go and sit. Most everything's closed. I can't go to well, there are some McDonald's open. I take that back. But I'm sitting there, I'm cold, I was dead tired. I took a nap in the freezing cold, didn't feel like getting in my sleeping bag. My radiator I know needs fixing. I'm getting worse gas mileage because my catalytic converter needs fixing. I'm not getting that fixed. I have some coolant in my car. like some antifreeze in the trunk, but I can't open up the cap to the coolant reservoir until my car cools down. So I can't warm myself up until then. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm tired, I'm cold, there's nowhere to really go right now. It's too early for me to sleep. Where do I go? Went to a bar, one of the few bars that were open. Spent money there. Actually didn't spend much money. They had some good deals. And I didn't buy any alcohol. Bad idea to drink alcohol while you're living in your car. First of all, you don't want to be getting your mood even worse, thinking you're going to escape all your problems by drinking. There is no escaping problems. I thought I was escaping yesterday going to the mountains, got back here, wasn't feeling great. I went to the bar, had fun, talked to some people, met some people, saw someone I already knew. That was nice, a little escape. But then today, it's like waking up, all the same problems again. Filled up the coolant on my car, so that'll last hopefully a few weeks at least before the heat goes, before it drains too much coolant. Not even worried about the catalytic converter. After all the money I've spent lately, still had to get groceries. Went to Aldi, fortunately, it was cheap. Spent $30 there just to have some decent food. And going to Aldi, it's again always prioritizing what do I need most. I need to stay healthy. I'm getting vegetables. I'm not splurging on much. I did get the vanilla sweet bread, which is fairly low sugar. And I got this bar of chocolate, but it was like low sugar, high dark chocolate, which is like supposed to be healthy for you. Other than that, just got basically essentials. And they have really good prices there. But it's always kind of prioritizing where can I go forward a little bit right now and not ruin myself financially. Today, $130 went out from my credit card. So I was like, damn, no point in even getting myself down about that. Now here's where I'm going all this. Okay, you could go on and on with these stories all day. Why I'm putting off certain repairs. I'm dealing with only emergencies for my car. Oh, I need a new battery for my car. Almost every time I try and start it, it's not starting. So it only starts like every 5 times I turn the key or so. So I know the battery's drained because I was draining my battery a lot for the first month being homeless to charge my phone and have the light on in my car while I'm doing stuff. And it means I can't really do much in the way of luxuries. Now, I have most of the comforts that I need. I go to the gym, shower, I shave there, all that stuff. I exercise. Fortunately, I'm healthy. But what gets me is, about being broke, is I'm realizing, like, when does this ever change? I think it might change. Everybody has to kind of delude themselves into thinking that, because why would you want to think you're just going to be broke your entire life? Can't afford to go out much, do anything. Can barely afford to travel different places. And by travel, I don't mean flying. I mean like driving around, because it uses so much gas. Can't afford to go out and eat much at restaurants, which is a little bit more desirable since I'm living in my car. I can't cook. I do have foods that keep in my car, especially in the winter, so that's good. It's winter. And I was thinking today at the gym, I was like, fuck, what do I even do once I get out of the gym today? There's no escaping this situation. Sometimes I think I wish I'd just get rid of all my bills, just not pay them. I refuse to pay them. Get rid of my cell phone, but that would be even more miserable. And there's still no escaping. Eventually, if I ever want to establish myself in a home or a job, I would need to keep working and keep paying down my bills. Don't want a huge credit card settlement against me, all that stuff. Because I was living beyond my means. I was paying more than I had for years. Living in Arlington especially, the cost of living around here is very high. According to Arlington County's website, what is that? I hear people's phones ringing in their cars, and I can hear the ring from out 40 feet away. Someone's phone is ringing right now. Anyways, what was I talking about? The average rent for a 1-bedroom apartment is $1,678 in Arlington, Virginia. And that's pretty common for a lot of the area. DC, Fairfax, Falls Church. Fairfax is a huge area alone. A lot of Maryland, Silver Spring, Bethesda. And so the problem I was dealing with was despair. And then just spiraling downward in negative thoughts, negative thinking. Going down this, free fall of what's the point of even going, out doing anything today. I'm not using going out as a euphemism for like hanging out at a bar or something. I mean going outside, going back to my car, figuring out what to do. What am I going to do? Write. I love writing screenplays. Like, okay, write a screenplay, but then I'm like, what's the point? I can't afford to shoot much of anything. That's not true. I have to change my mindset. I have to keep moving. But it was hard. I was looking at these weights, getting such negative thoughts, thinking I'm not even supposed to do anything. Like if I'm poor, I just can't do anything. And then I'm looking at these weights thinking, why should I even lift this weight one more time? And I made myself keep lifting and exercising. I exercised hard today. And thinking, what's the point of this struggle? I'm stupid. I'm a loser. I didn't, school was never for me. I never enjoyed school much. I didn't try that hard. I eventually failed a couple classes, dropped out of college. Even high school, I only kind of got by just like not trying that hard. But I never even wanted to be in school anyways. And so that's another thing. If you're broke, you got the financial problems, you got the emotional burden of it, of thinking, how am I going to get through another week of this? How long am I going to be broke? Looking back and thinking, what was the point of all this struggle I've already been through? I've been disabled before. I talked about that in another video. I was disabled for 9 months when I was 27 to 28, I believe. I was very depressed for a lot of my life, especially through college. I was just shattered. I was in despair. And thinking, what changes could I have made? But then, I know there's nothing I really could have done, in the sense that whatever happened, that's how it needed to happen. I was in such a bad state. A lot of times, there would have been no benefit to having some other better job, even if I could get one, which I'm not really qualified for much else. Filmmaking, doing this right here, is what I'm best at. And even today, it was like a roller coaster. Trying to decide, am I going to do a video? Am I going to film something? It's getting late. I have to eat. I have to go to the bathroom again. I have to take a dump. And the sun's going down. Fortunately, I got a decent spot with the light above me to film. But the thing about riding a roller coaster is you have the ups, you have the downs, and going through all those ups and downs makes you sick. So it's tough being broke. And I'm fortunately not in the worst situation. Like, I'm very privileged, relatively speaking. And at the same time, I look and see this system exploits people and has no use for someone who's broke. Like, you really have to overcome a lot. And I appreciate having that perspective. I knew I had to be homeless, not just for the financial reasons, but I had to do this for myself. I didn't think I'd be homeless. Well, I knew I'd be homeless, but like not living in my car. I thought I'd be sleeping on people's couches. But it's like I need this to sort of know what it's like and to see. I'm not even in the worst situation of it. I'm not in like some dangerous neighborhood. I'm not in a homeless shelter, which can be unpleasant to be in. Not that they don't do good work. They do. I did spend one afternoon in a homeless shelter, but I was like, this is not for me. But fortunately, I get to be around all the comforts of like nice areas like this. You see the shopping center behind me. I go to a nice gym. I go to my job where fortunately I'm treated well. I've been at jobs where like I'm paid a lot less and work way harder and am abused by people, and my employers are abusive, and totally sucks. And you realize, like, how do you even get through this? What are the jobs these 20-year-olds have where they're doing well? What not 20-year-olds, but people in their 20s, what I mean. Although I did have a job when I was 20. I was a movie theater manager. That was stressful as hell. I was so depressed, but I had to learn. It was a good experience. Anyways, like I said, it's like playing a game of roulette. You spin that wheel, and then you figure out once you land on whatever the biggest priority today is, like it's like just triage, just stop the bleeding, whatever's the biggest emergency. You don't worry about, the bad liver or whatever, or someone's, broken knee, you deal with the emergency at the time. So the battery in my car, hey, hopefully it holds up for a while. Catalytic converter, not even worried about it. Radiator, I'll just keep getting antifreeze for a while. Get the rest of my bills every month, car insurance, gas, all that stuff's got to go out. Cell phone bill. And then, where's the room for, having relationships with people, with being in contact? I was out at the bar last night. I was talking to some people. One person I knew I hadn't seen in a while. She works in TV now. And that was cool. I was glad to see that for her. And it was a nice reminder, someone's doing well. And not just someone. I was glad to see that. I was like, I got to work even harder at this. Met some new people, and we just, went up to them, talked to them, whatever. And it was nice to see. It's people are glad to talk to me. But even then, wake up the next day, I'm like, shit. I'm in the same fucking goddamn position, same broke, loser status. But it's also a privilege to do this. And thank goodness YouTube's around for me for all my problems with YouTube and Google, YouTube's around for me to spread this message and to be able to share it with people. It's brutal. I was thinking today in the gym, wanting to go outside and face the world again and what use do people have for me? Because I was thinking that about my YouTube videos. I didn't bring them up to some of the people that I talked to last night. I was just feeling them out, seeing, should I bring this up? Does anybody care about this necessarily? And realizing that, a lot of people, they have no use for, someone who's interested in film or whatever. That's fine. I'm not entitled to their attention or, their fandom or anything like that. It's totally fine. But I was thinking, it's so important to me, filmmaking, and here I can see the other people, it doesn't matter. And I was thinking, man, they have no use for me. And they weren't bad people. Again, I don't mean they had no use for me, like they didn't have any regard for me. They were very nice. These people were glad to talk to me, respectful. But I'm like, I got to figure out even more. I got to turn my head when I see stuff like that, or hear stuff like that, especially being homeless. I know I'm vulnerable. Anyways, knowing what's my place? Where am I going to find, where I belong? And think there's nowhere. There's no escape. As much as I could get in the mountains like I did yesterday, it's not an escape. I'm still back here with the same problems. There's no, even if I just stayed there, it would be disaster. Even if I went further away, it would be disaster unless I try and deal with this stuff. So anyways, what I'm saying is there's no solution really to being broke, except keep going forward. Keep always trying. Hey, if you're young and seeing this, it's you have to make mistakes, and the mistakes I made weren't really weren't really my fault in the I don't like saying that. In the sense, I couldn't help myself in that I didn't know anything better. And what do I mean by mistakes? Nothing that bad, just not saving money properly, not applying myself well, not taking filmmaking more seriously. But then again, I didn't know to, and I wouldn't have even if I was told to. So, and I didn't know really how to, I didn't know my way particularly of doing it, and I had to go through that time. That was the factor I needed, just time to go through it. And while you're doing that, that's not something people value monetarily, and they're not going to pay you for it. So that was something I had to figure out. I did hundreds of videos for free for people. I don't regret that at all. That was a good experience. But what I'm saying is, you got to keep going forward. Keep studying, learning, reading. If school's not for you, which it was not for me, then it's even more incumbent upon you to learn about the world you live in, learn about the history of where you are, why the world the way it is, understand, why some people live one way, some people live another. Why do we have rich and poor here? Why do we have disparities between communities along racial lines? Why do we have all that? The world didn't just happen by accident. There's people who are rich and exploiting others and hurting others, and there's poor who've been exploited and been hurt. And just keep learning. And there's no easy way. I'm still struggling. I'm 33. Anyways, being broke is tough. it keeps compounding itself, the problems that come up, but you got to keep moving forward. But sometimes even that doesn't seem like a solution. So I don't know what the answer is for a lot of people being broke, other than nothing can really change you. You have to decide what you're going to be. And that is the most toughest, scariest, most vulnerable position to be in, is knowing you have to choose. You have to make a choice. Anyways, my battery's dying. Thanks for watching, everybody. Subscribe for more videos.